Hi friends, it's Deanna Willison with Our Blooming Catholic Life, and welcome to a new series. We're going to call this Reading the Rule. So we're going to work our way quickly through reading the rules. Why? It's not just the rule of 1978. We're going to try and go through and read the historical rules of the secular Franciscan order. Reason number one is there are many third orders of St. Francis that exist currently, and I think it's pretty common among all of us, we're all supposed to regularly review the rule. And one way to do that that's really great is to look over it first thing in the morning with our morning prayers or last thing at night with our nighttime prayers. Problem is, if you're old like me, your eyes may not work as well first thing in the morning or last thing at night. So one of the reasons for reading the rule is you're going to be able to listen along. That's going to hopefully be an aid to some people being able to study these. I hope that is of some benefit. As well, it's interesting if you're not familiar with the other rules to hear them read. It's a familiar thing when you study the history of the rules of the Franciscan order over time, whatever way you're looking. It's 1 minute they say, well, this rule was too strict. This rule was not strict enough. This one watered this down. This one we feel focused on social work. This one focused on prayer. This one made it into a devotional society. This one was too hardcore for laity. And people are always going to say, it's funny because those things you think you're sitting here and you're going, I know what rules she's talking about when I say these things, and you may not. You would be surprised as to what people, different periods of time, thought about the different rules. And you may start to think, well, there's many now third orders of St. Francis, even for the laity, even for the seculars. And so you can kind of pick and choose what you want. You're like Goldilocks, and you're going out and you're trying on the different rules to find the one that fits just right. I invite you not to do that. That is not how it is. You go out, we had a recent talk on vocations here on this channel, and you're going out to try and discern what is the will of God for you. So it's really not like Goldilocks and the Goldilocks and Three Bears. It is more like the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf. Which of these rules, if we use it to build our gospel life, will withstand the trials and snares of the devil? Which of them will help us build up the church? That's what we're looking to do. And again, it's not as obvious as you think. It's not like in the Three Little Pigs where the earliest one was the weakest. We don't know. We have to try and discern that, and we're all doing the best we can. So be forgiving of other groups if they think one is going to save more people than others. I'm going to ask you to do some forgiveness, and perhaps some people are called, as St. Francis says, I've done what was mine to do, now it is to you to discern what is yours to do. And so different rules may fit different people. So no judgment here, and what I really love is when the different third orders of St. Francis get together in fellowship and discuss these things. You may find out there's a lot of commonalities in the rules, and there may be some things from the other rules that you want to adopt into your way of gospel life. I'm not saying to throw out the rule that you're in necessarily, but you may want to pull some elements from other ones, or they may just enrich and deepen your understanding of the rule that you have professed under. I know that was a lot of talk. We're almost at 5 minutes, so let's jump in. We're going to look at the rule of 1221. Some people call this the original rule. I think it's called the earlier rule. I'm not jumping into it. And the people who live under this rule today, some caveats here. Their constitutions, just like all the other ones, the constitutions kind of adapt the rule for how we're living it in reality in our daily life. The rules sound really great, right? But they can be a little philosophical sometimes and theological, right? A little bit above our heads. And so sometimes it's going to be knocked down to practicality by the constitutions. In specifically, this rule of 1221 uses terms that were specific to that day and age in Italy, including the monetary forms. So it's not in dollars, in cents. I think it's L's and not rupees. It's something. Anyway, so you're going to hear some words that aren't familiar. Don't worry. Their constitutions are going to flesh that out for you, and we're going to read some constitutions once we get through all of these rules. Okay, the primitive rule of 1221. Here begins the rule of the continent, brothers and sisters, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. The memorial of what is proposed for the brothers and sisters of penance living in their own homes, begun in the year of our Lord 1221, is as follows. Chapter 1, Daily Life. Number 1. The men belonging to this brotherhood shall dress in humble, undyed cloth, the price of which is not to exceed 6 ravenna, soldi, an ell, unless for evident and necessary cause a temporary dispensation may be given, and the breadth and thinness of the cloth are be considered in said price. 2. They shall wear their outer garments and furred coats without open throat, sewed shut or uncut, but certainly laced up, not open as secular people wear them, and they shall wear their sleeves closed. 3. The sisters in turn shall wear an outer garment and tunic made of cloth of the same price and humble quality, or at least they are to have with the outer garment a white or black underwrap or petticoat, or an ample linen gown without gathers, the price of an ell of which is not to exceed 12 pisa dinars. As to this price, however, in the fur cloaks they wear, a dispensation may be given according to the estate of the woman and the custom of the place. They are not to wear silken or dyed veils or ribbons. 4. And both the brothers and sisters shall have their fur garments of lamb's wool only. They are permitted to have leather purses and belts sewed in simple fashion without silken thread and no other kind. Also other vain adornments they shall lay aside at the bidding of the visitor. 5. They are not to go to unseemly parties or shows or dances. They shall not donate to actors and shall forbid their household to donate. Chapter 2 is abstinence. 6. All are to abstain from meat, save on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, except on account of illness or weakness, for 3 days at bloodletting, in traveling, or on account of a specially high feast intervening, namely the Nativity for 3 days, New Year's, Epiphany, the Pasch of the Resurrection for 3 days, Assumption of the Glorious Virgin Mary, the Solemnity of All Saints, and of St. Martin. On the other days, when there is no fasting, they may eat cheese and eggs. But when they are with religious in their convent homes, they have to leave to eat what is served them. And except for the feeble, the ailing, and those traveling, let them be content with dinner and supper. Let the healthy be temperate in their eating and drinking. 7. Before their dinner and supper, let them say the Lord's Prayer once, likewise after their meal, and let them give thanks to our God. Otherwise, let them say 3 Our Fathers. Chapter 3. Fasting. Number 8. From the Pasch of the Resurrection to the Feast of All Saints, they are to fast on Fridays. From the Feast of All Saints until Easter, they are to fast on Wednesdays and Fridays, but still observing the other fasts enjoined in general by the Church. 9. They are to fast daily, except on account of infirmity or any other need, throughout the fast of St. Martin, from after said day until Christmas, and throughout the greater fast from Carnival Sunday until Easter. 10. Sisters who are pregnant are free to refrain until their purification from the corporal observances, except those regarding their dress and prayers. 11. Those engaged in fatiguing work shall be allowed to take food 3 times a day, from the Pasch of the Resurrection until the dedication feast of St. Michael. And when they work for others, it will be allowed them to eat everything served to them, except on Fridays and on the fast enjoined in general by the Church. Chapter 4. Prayer. 12. All are daily to say the 7 canonical hours, that is, matins, prime, terce, sext, none, vespers, and compline. The clerics are to say them after the manner of the clergy. Those who know the Psalter are to say the Deus in nomine tuo, Psalm 54, the Beati Immaculati, Psalm 119, up to the Legnum Pone, verse 33 for prime, and other psalms of the hours, with the glory be to the Father. But when they do not attend church, they are to say four matins, the psalms the Church says, or any 18 psalms, or at least to say the Our Father, as do the unlettered, at any of the hours. The others say 12 Our Fathers for matins, and every one of the other hours 7 Our Fathers, with the glory be to the Father after each one. And those who know the creed in the Miserere Mei Deus, Psalm 51, should say it at prime and compline. If they do not say that at the hours indicated, they shall say 3 Our Fathers. 13. The sick are not to say the hours unless they wish. 14. All are to go to matins in the fast of St. Martin and in the great fast unless inconvenience for persons or affairs should threaten. Chapter 5. The sacraments and other matters. 15. They are to make a confession of their sins 3 times a year and to receive communion at Christmas, Easter, and Pentecost. They are to be reconciled with their neighbors and to restore what belongs to others. They are to make up for past tithes and pay future tithes. 16. They are not to take up lethal weapons or bear them about against anybody. 17. All are to refrain from formal oaths unless where necessity compels, in the cases accepted by the sovereign pontiff in his indult, that is, for peace, for the faith, under calumny, and in bearing witness. 18. Also, in their ordinary conversations, they will do their best to avoid oaths. And should anyone have sworn thoughtlessly through a slip of the tongue, as happens when there is much talking, he should, the evening of the same day, when he is obliged to think over what he has done, say 3 Our Fathers in amends of such oaths. Let each member fortify his household to serve God. Chapter 6. Special Mass and meeting each month. 19. All the brothers and sisters of every city and place are to foregather every month at the time the ministers see fit, in a church which the ministers will make known, and there assist at divine services. 20. And every member is to give the treasurer 1 ordinary denar. The treasurer is to collect this money and distribute it on the advice of the ministers among the poor brothers and sisters, especially the sick, and those who may have nothing for their funeral services, and thereupon among the poor, and they are to offer something of the money to the aforesaid church. 21. And if it be convenient at the time, they are to have some religious, who is informed in the words of God, to exhort them and strengthen them, to persevere in their penance and in performing the works of mercy. And except for the officers, they are to remain quiet during the Mass and sermon, intent on the office, on prayer, and on the sermon. Chapter 7. Visiting the sick, burying the dead. 22. Whenever any brother or sister happens to fall ill, the ministers, if the patient let them know of it, shall in person or through others visit the patient once a week and remind him of penance, and if they find it expedient, they are to supply him from the common fund with what he may need for the body. 23. And if the ailing person depart from this life, it is to be published to the brothers and sisters who may be present in the city or place, so that they may all gather for the funeral, and they are not to leave until the Mass has been celebrated and the body consigned to burial. Thereupon each member, within 8 days of demise, shall say for the soul of the deceased a Mass if he is a priest, 50 psalms if he understands the Psalter, or if not, then 50 Our Fathers with the Requiem Aeternam at the end of each. 24. In addition, every year, for the welfare of the brothers and sisters living and dead, each priest is to say 3 Masses, each member knowing the Psalter is to recite it, and the rest shall say 100 Our Fathers with the Requiem Aeternam at the end of each. 25. All who have the right are to make their last will and make disposition of their goods within 3 months after profession, lest any one of them die intestate. 26. As regards making peace among the brothers and sisters or non-members at odds, let what the ministers find proper be done, even if it be expedient, upon consultation with the Lord Bishop. 27. If contrary to their rights and privileges, trouble is made for the brothers and sisters by the mayors and governors of the places where they live, the ministers of the place shall do what they shall find expedient on the advice of the Lord Bishop. 28. Let each member accept and faithfully exercise the ministry of other offices imposed on him, although anyone may retire from office after 1 year. 29. When anybody wishes to enter this brotherhood, the ministers shall carefully inquire into his standing and occupation, and they shall explain to him the obligations of the brotherhood, especially that of restoring what belongs to others. And if he is content with it, let him be vested according to the prescribed way, and he must make satisfaction for his debts, paying money according to what the pledged provision is given. They are to reconcile themselves with their neighbors, and to pay up their tithes. 30. After these particulars are compiled, with when the year is up and he seems suitable to them, let him, on the advice of some discreet brothers, be received on this condition, that he promise he will all the time of his life observe everything here written, or to be written, or abated on the advice of the brothers, unless on occasion there be a valid dispensation by the ministers, and that he will, when called upon by the ministers, render satisfaction as the visitor shall ordain if he have done anything contrary to this condition. And this promise is to be put in writing then and there by a public notary. Even so, nobody is to be received otherwise, unless in consideration of the estate and rank of the person, it shall seem advisable to the ministers. 31. No one is to depart from this brotherhood, and from what is contained herein, except to enter a religious order. 32. No heretic or person in bad repute for heresy is to be received. If he is under suspicion of it, he may be admitted if otherwise fit upon being cleared before the bishop. 33. Married women are not to be received except with the consent and leave of their husbands. 34. Brothers and sisters ejected from the brotherhood as incorrigible are not to be received in it again except it please the senior portion of the brothers. Chapter 8. Correction, dispensation, and officers. 35. The ministers of any city or place shall report public faults of the brothers and sisters to the visitor for punishment, and if anyone proves incorrigible, after consultation with some of the discreet brothers, he shall be denounced to the visitor to be expelled by him from the brotherhood, and thereupon it should be published in the meeting. Moreover, if it is a brother, he should be announced to the mayor or governor. 36. If anyone learns that a scandal is occurring relative to brothers and sisters, he shall report it to the ministers and shall have an opportunity to report it to the visitor. He need not be held to report it in the case of husband against wife. 37. The visitor has the power to dispense all the brothers and sisters in any of these points if he finds it advisable. 38. When the year has passed, the ministers with the council of the brothers are to elect 2 other ministers and a faithful treasurer, who is to provide for the needs of the brothers and sisters and other poor, and messengers who at the command of the ministers are to publish what is said and done by the fraternity. 39. In all the above-mentioned points, no one is to be obligated under guilt, but under penalty. Yet so that if after being admonished twice by the ministers, he should fail to discharge the penalty imposed, or be imposed on him by the visitor, he shall be obliged under guilt as contumacious. Here ends the rule of the continent. The author is Cardinal Ugolino dei Conti dei Segni, who wrote this rule at the request of St. Francis of Assisi, 1221, the source of this being the Franciscan Omnibus of Sources. It does tell you that this rule has no footnotes. There are footnotes added by the Confraternity of Penitents on the link I'm going to provide you to explain the terms which are unfamiliar to modern penitents. And I'll give you an example here. 6 Ravina soldi was the equivalent of $5.37 United States of America money in January of 2014. Wow. An L is one man's arm length, which is approximately 5/8 to a yard. Very interesting. I love that they took the time to make all of these notes. I hope this helps you some way go into it. I always, when I read this, I always find, that's something I could be better at. Even if it's not explicit in the rule I'm following, I do always find something edifying by reading the other rules. So if this has blessed you, friends, I hope that you give it a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe to this channel, and as always, please remember to pray for me and for vocations and the holiness of all the Franciscan orders. God bless you, friends.